Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hello, I'm gonna wake you up a little bit. We're gonna try. I woke up this morning and felt a little bit like RuPaul. I'm Harrison. Good morning. Hello, sunshine. to live in right relations, to love our neighbors, to seek justice and loving kindness, and to walk humbly on this land. We recognize our oneness so that we decolonize our minds and set each other free from the pain of racism and violence, to live better as God intended, in harmony with nature and with one another. So again, welcome everybody. I'm Allison Derry, one of the licensed spiritual practitioners at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, where love lives here. Yes, love lives here. And I am honored to serve as your guest host today while Reverend Jeffrey has a well-deserved day off. I want to say hello to everybody joining us and watching us on our live stream today. And we're just so happy you're including us in your morning. And I do want to remind everybody here in the sanctuary that now's the time to put your phones on silent if you haven't already done so that we can have our time here uninterrupted. And so I know there's a bit of a chill in the air, although believe me, at 8:30 it was even chillier in here. So we're going to get ourselves up, standing, and do some singing. Probably by the end of the service, it'll be nice and toasty in here. But anyway, get up and start moving, and we have our congregational song. Okay.
Good morning, my name is Amber Holland, and I'm one of your licensed spiritual practitioners here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Practitioner Ed Ryan and I will be available after service for a brief moment of prayer in the prayer room behind the lobby. Please don't leave here with anything on your heart. We would love to pray with you and absolutely know that prayer works. Now please allow this music to take you into the silence, followed by this morning's invocation.
One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. One all are one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. One people living in one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. One people living in one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. We all are one. We all are one. We all are one.
And resting into the silence, allowing the breath of God to breathe us, knowing that in this space there is only one light, one love, one radiant power that I call God. It is the source of all, the knower of all, the doer of all. It is the voice in the darkness, the beauty and perfection of life, past and present. It is nature and joy. It is everything and everyone. And this one, this life, flows through everything that I am. Each and every part of my being is made of this pure and perfect spirit that I call love, that I call God. And as I know this for myself, I know this for each and every person within the sound of my voice and beyond, that we are all one with spirit, rooted and grounded in the peace, perfection, joy, and love of God. That we soar, that we fly, that we move, knowing that our ancestors, past and present, move through us, guide us, teach us, and allow us to be God each and every moment of every day. And as I know this morning we are full of God, full of truth, full of the knowing that we are grounded in wisdom, grounded in the discernment of each and every person living and past, that we fly, that we soar, knowing that we are connected, cradled in the arms of spirit, holding on to the wings of God, every moment of every day. And I simply let this be so, and together we say, and so it is.
Well, I have a sweet friend who went into hospice yesterday, so I'm singing this song and dedicating it to her. I am one, simple and plain, no superpowers, no famous name, but I stand tall, 'cause I believe Something greater has come alive inside of me. I have felt the Spirit stirring in my soul, deep in my soul. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I am one, but I'm not alone. When I am with you, I am whole. Side by side, we find the truth. When the Spirit in me meets the same in you, I have felt this fire burning in my soul, deep in my soul. I will give love, I will speak peace, oh, because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, in a world where so many feel lost, in a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I know God.
Jubel, thank you so much. That was just gorgeous. And thank you to Ray and Austin, too, of course, and for such a lovely invocation from Amber. So we'll breathe. And let's come together in consciousness for a moment and say our focus statement together. Let's say it. I'll channel Reverend Jeff here for a moment. Let's say it with some L's. So, okay, love. Laughter. Lavishly. How about lively? Light with light? Okay, all right, I'm reaching, but anyway. So we're gonna go ahead, Amber. So let's go ahead and say it together. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Beautiful. And so our speaker today really needs no introduction. She is our CSL's Minister of Transformational Programs. And speaking of that, I understand that her most recent class she taught the Noble Elders was just outstanding and transformational. Yes. So we're so blessed to have her. And of course, she is Reverend Dr. Victoria Bomberry. So let's welcome her.
Well, I'm still making it up those stairs, right? I'm so happy. Estongo, Chukaya Dega. Reverend Victoria Bomberry, Chehef Kados. So good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Victoria Bomberry, and it's so good to see everyone here this morning. I love that we're here together on this long weekend, and we are actually holding the space for everyone who's out there doing whatever they're doing, right? Visiting with friends, traveling, whatever this long weekend allows them to do. And, you know, where two or more are gathered, we fill the house, right? And there's more than two here, just so people out there know. There are more than two. Although Allison thought there may be only one when she arrived at 8:30 this morning. She told me she had her pocket talk out, just in case. So, you know, I really love this weather this morning, sweater weather. I have my sweater on out there. And, you know, for Southern California, this is like a winter day, right? It really is. And, you know, I kind of looked up into the mountains this morning to see if there was any snow up there because of the chill in the air. And what a glorious morning it is. And I want to thank Amber for that incredible invocation and her beautiful consciousness that set the tone for our meeting here today. And of course, the musicians. Last week when I came in, I said, that's what I need to hear, that music. And we are so blessed to have these talented people in our congregation who give so much. And you know, I'm wondering, did people have a chance to spend some time journaling or thinking about all those questions that Reverend Jeff's message posed last week about home? Yeah? Okay. And the questions were, what does home mean to you? What do you consider home? When do you feel most at home? And those are the perennial questions, right? They really are. I've been asking those questions of myself all my life, I think. You know, what is home? And, you know, one of the first things that my parents said I talked about was, I want to be home. And, you know, I must have been 3 years old or so. And I asked that question. You know, well, I made that assertion, I want to be home. And they always wondered what I was talking about because we moved from one town to another. And they thought, well, we moved from a town to a city, and they weren't very big either. So the town was very, very small, and the city wasn't that big. But I think it was something deeper than that. I think it was actually my soul speaking about home and that longing for home. And that's a spiritual question, right? It's not about the material, it's that spiritual question that's being asked. And I've asked that at each stage of my life, beginning with those first words I could utter, right? And when I first set out as an adventuresome young woman, actually a teen becoming a woman, I was looking for home. You know, I was really searching for that. What is that about? What does home mean to me? And, that was the beginning of what we would probably call a hero's journey, looking for home. And we know that that hero's journey is something that everyone embarks on in their life. We all set out on our hero's journey, and that was one of mine. What is home? What is that home that I'm going toward, that I'm building, that I'm creating? So a little more than a decade ago, I came to the full realization that I am at home in the world. And, it was so powerful. It was like, wow, that question has been gnawing at me all the time. And, I was at that point, I was living alone, and, all my kids were grown up, and, that question came up at that stage of life. Well, what is home? It's changed. I'm not mothering. It was right before I had a grandchild, so I wasn't grandmothering. What is my role? What is home? What does that mean right now? And when that realization hit me, it was like, wow, I can be anywhere, and I'm home. I'm home. And wherever I am, I am. I am. Because, just as that song says, I know God. So I am at home. And no matter how different a place might appear to me, because I like to travel, and, I've lived in several different places, and I like to travel in Latin America. And every time I go, I'm just like, this is the most beautiful place in the world. And then I come home and I realize, come back here, and it's like, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been. And, just that opening up to that sacred is so powerful. And then my now daughter-in-law, when she was dating my son, she said that she asked him, since we've lived in several different places, what he considered home. And she said he thought for a while, and he said, home's wherever my mom is. And I was like, oh my gosh, how wonderful, that we can give that feeling of security and safety and boundless love to our children as a gift, right? And that made my life, right? That made my life. And I think that may have changed a little bit now that he's settled, right? And into a home of his own, and he's creating that with a wonderful partner. So that may be changing, but I'm sure that it's expanding, right? It's an expanded view of what home is. And at the same time, I know that a lot of us have experienced many, many challenges in our life, in our homes of origin. And some people haven't, and we've been shaped by that, and some people haven't had an easy time in the home of their origin. And, we can, see all kinds of things that have happened to people where they don't feel at home in their home of origin. And today's talk is titled Roots and Wings. And journalist Hodding Carter says, there are only two lasting bequests that we can hope to give our children, roots and wings. And they can be grown, these roots and wings. And I'm just going to bracket this, only, put that in brackets, only in the home. Because not everyone is blessed with a home that is nurturing and secure. For example, my parents were taken from their homes and communities to an Indian boarding school where they grew up from the time they were in first grade until they graduated from high school. And that was a U.S. policy to remove Native children from their homes. And, it was a difficult upbringing for them, very difficult. And it was bereft of actual parents and aunts and uncles, grandparents, place. It was not that far from where they live necessarily, but in those days, people couldn't get around very quickly from one place to another. So it could have been in another country for them. And oftentimes they weren't able to go back to their parents' homes. And they were sent out to work in the summer for white farmers and white families during the summer, because the idea was that they were becoming laborers in service to, the white community. And it was a very difficult upbringing. And they were, a part of that generation, those generations that were beaten for speaking their language, that they were shamed and all kinds of things. So that was a very, very difficult upbringing. So I say these things, these roots and wings are not generated only in the home. They're generated by spirit. And, these experiences, the negative experiences, shaped them in many different ways and limited them in ways. But what I know about my parents is that they proved themselves resilient and kind, no matter what. And I do believe that it is because of that spiritual strength that they carried with them and that they cultivated in their life. And we can look at other figures. For example, the Dalai Lama. He was chosen and picked out by all these monks who traveled across Tibet looking for the reincarnation of the previous Dalai Lama. So when he was a small child, they identified him and they took him from his home, from his mother and father and his siblings, and he was brought up in an austere monastery. And I think, it was very disciplined, very different than it would have been had he been raised at home. But he became probably one of the most joyful, kindest people that we see in the world, right? Every time you see a picture of the Dalai Lama or see him speaking, he's always smiling and laughing. And, he just exudes this incredible joy. And where does that come from? And he says he doesn't have a deity, right? But it comes from that realization of source. And I think he would agree. There's source, right? He would agree with that. And he embodies that. And definitely he is rooted and he has wings, right? He's gone all over the world. And when he was a very young man leading the Tibetan people, there was political unrest, and China was annexing Tibet. And there's always these kinds of things where countries will say we're seeing it again, with Russia and the Ukraine, that this is actually our territory, so we're taking it. And the same thing happened in Tibet. China said, well, this has always historically been a part of China, so we're taking this land. And the Dalai Lama finally realized that it was going to be impossible for his people to stay there. So he went into exile. And he had this arduous journey as a very young man to find refuge in India. So again, having to escape from what was home, where his roots were, where generations and generations of his family lived, his people lived. The Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, is a particular kind of Buddhism, and that sprung up out of that soil in Tibet. And what he says is that if that hadn't happened, he wouldn't have been able to do the things that he's been able to do. And of course, India created a space. Can you imagine? This country, India, created a space, a whole country in exile in India for the Tibetan people and the Dalai Lama. And that has been a beacon of hope and light and love for the entire world. So that's a powerful, powerful thing. It's not often that a country will give up an inch of ground for anyone. And yet here is this whole city that has been built up that is inhabited by Tibetan people. And of course now there are Tibetan people all over doing different things, but still rooted and having those wings to be on this planet. And come to a realization that we are different, remarkably different from one another, but all that difference is absolutely necessary to who we are as humanity. And then there's Wayne Dyer. Most of you probably remember Wayne Dyer. And he wrote, I don't know how many books, probably at least 50 books. And he's a motivational speaker. And, some people call him the father of self-help because he was right there at the beginning of this movement toward self-help. And he was raised in foster homes and in orphanages. And after his father abandoned the family, leaving his wife with 3 small boys. And they lived in a very poverty-stricken part of Detroit, and his mother was just not able to care for the family. And he ended up in the foster homes and in orphanages. And he says, when I was an orphan, in the orphanages, I was the richest kid. And he was resilient. He found things to do that enriched his life, even as a child. So there was that inner strength that he drew on to survive and to thrive, even in this very stark circumstance. And, early on in his work, I guess he had a more psychological bent, but as time progressed, he became more spiritual. And I think that growth and that spirituality in him was always there, right? It just started to flourish and grow as he got older and studied more and lived life more. That spirit came to him in a very strong way. And the resilience that I see in these examples come from one source, don't they? One source. A deep realization of the sacred. Ernest Holmes writes, "We are all rooted in one life. Your endeavor, then, is not so much to find God as to realize God's presence and to understand this presence is always with you." And this comes from a Holmes reader on practical wisdom. For myself, my homecoming was the realization that this entire planet is my home. And I became like, I'm the woman who loves the earth, you know? And it was, that just filled me with, just this joy. And it wasn't a specific place, but an entire planet that I love. And yet, I would not have been able to fully realize this unless my deep appreciation of the sacred came to maturity. Now, coming to maturity, that's always going on, right? So it's not an end point, it's just a realization, And I look forward to many more realizations on this. Now, all of you have probably heard the story of the prodigal son, right? How many of you have heard that story? Okay, I think most people have heard it. Well, a few weeks ago, I did a talk on the New Thought Media Network. And I found this, we're doing things out of the archives for the next couple of months. And I found this old article, this old magazine that Ernest Holmes did. It was from the Institute of Religious Science. And sometimes we forget that we have a lot of Christianity in here. I wanted to show you the cover of this. So it's called Religious Science. Maybe you can't see it from there. I probably couldn't. But it says Religious Science, November 1927, a magazine of Christian philosophy, published by the Institute of Religious Science and School of Philosophy, Inc. And I got this one because I picked it up because it said, the greatest lesson ever taught by Ernest Holmes. And I was like, wow, I want to hear the greatest lesson ever taught. So I decided that's what I was going to give my talk on. And the greatest lesson ever taught, in Ernest Holmes' opinion, in 1927, was the story of the prodigal son. And I really loved his interpretation of it. And wouldn't you know, I've got my pages completely mixed up. So let's see if I can unmix them. I have a thing about paper. Paper eludes me a lot and confounds me and does all kinds of stuff to me. So I'm just going to tell you. So this story that he says is the greatest lesson ever taught is exactly about home and the sacred. It is an incredible story. And, I've taught it several times, and, I go back to it and read it. And I remember as a kid hearing it, and I was like, well, how come the good son got such a bad rap, He was there, and he was so good, and then that rotten son went off and got all the goodies when he came home. So it kind of was like, that doesn't make sense to me. But, reading this again and reading it with Ernest Holmes, it was interesting to look at it as this teaching story. I guess we're broadcasting. I can't walk around a lot. It was amazing to think about this story again as a homecoming and in terms of roots and wings. Now, this father had two sons. And, I'm going to say right up front, those two sons don't represent what I thought as a child, the good son and the bad son. There's no duality there. It's actually a teaching story, a metaphysical story that's similar to some native stories that I know. And in this story, there are two sons, but it's sort of how we are, right? We have this consciousness that is completely at home with God, and we also have a consciousness that is kind of that curious, wanting to explore and maybe getting in a little bit of trouble, getting way out there in the distant, far country, away from the center. And I know I've been there, maybe you've been there, where you're just on that outer rim, where you can't see the center at all. And you forget, right? I've forgotten a number of times in my life that I am never away from source. No matter how far out I get, right? Source is always there. Source is already always there, just ready for me to take the hand, right? Take that hand. Or even follow my instinct back to the center. So this is what the story is about. It is about this son who goes and he just spends lavishly. He just does. He has all this money. And of course, when he has all this money, he's partying. He's got lots of friends, right? He spends everything until he is just completely dissolute. And, he probably is out doing all kinds of stuff that would horrify his mother, right? And yet, he comes to a realization when he's in the pigsty, feeding the pigs. And of course, for Jewish people, this would be the lowest thing that you could possibly do, is have to work with pigs. And, that is just the lowest of the low. And there he is. He's in this pigsty, taking care of all these pigs, having to herd them and do whatever they do with pigs. And he comes to that realization, I can go and just be a slave in my father's house, and it'll be better than this. So he makes his way home. And of course, the father sees him coming. Doesn't see him. He knows he's coming. He senses that he's coming. So he says, "Oh, call the servants. Find the best clothes. Take this ring and put it on his hand. Dress him. Bring him home." And that's any of us, right? No matter what we've done, no matter what has happened, that is always available to us. This home that is secure, safe, where we are loved more than we can ever imagine. It's always there. And the son comes back and he is completely bewildered. And the father sits him next to him at the table in an honored spot. And he is home. Now that is the spiritual home that we're all seeking. I know even now, I'll go out on the edge sometime and I'll be like, and then when I realize this is my life. Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within. And I don't know how many times he said that. I think he probably said it every day to people. And they would just be like, huh? What are you talking about? But that's the truth. The kingdom of God is within. And when we realize that, and we realize that God doesn't own us, God is ultimate givingness. There's no ownership in it. There's no punishment in it, other than the punishment that we create for ourselves. God is all love. God is ready to receive us at any time. And when we come to that realization, and I do think I had that realization 10 years ago when I was mature enough to see, yes, I am never alone. I am always with God, no matter what. I don't go out on the edge and live there anymore. Don't take up residence there anymore. I come back. It's like, oh, I caught a cold for a minute. Come home. That's our reality. That's the true reality that we live in. And it's available to every one of us at any time that we want it. So this week, think about what that home is. What do you want your outer home, your material home, to look like? I made a vow last week, and I'm doing pretty good this week with it. I told you I have trouble with paper. I'm cleaning out all my old papers and, getting rid of the clutter, because I have this habit of, if there is a flat space, that's a workspace where I can spread out all my papers, right? Where I have all my books and I'm taking all my notes. And, I'm the world's worst at having 20 million papers and all my notes. And then sometimes I'll come across them and I'll think, who said that? That's pretty smart. And of course it was me, but I have no idea where it came from or even now what it's about, other than that sounds pretty good. But I'm going to put those things in order. So think about your home. What do you want in your material home that represents that heavenly home for you? That order, that divine right order, that beauty, that safety, that place where you can express yourself fully at all times. So do that this week. I don't know what it'll be for you, but you guys, you keep me on track here. You can ask me, how's your papers going every now and again? And I have made that vow. So I love you all. And let's turn within. Oh, just taking that deep breath. I'm so grateful to recognize the one God, the one source in this very moment, knowing that that is my true home. And I know this is the reality for each and every one of us. And I am so grateful to feel this in every cell of my body. And as I feel this in every cell of my body, I am at peace. I am at one with the one. And I'm knowing that each one of us feels that deep peace, that deep connection to God that we experience in every part of our life, the givingness of God, that overflowing abundance of God. And I am just so grateful for this. And I release my word into the action of the law, knowing it is done, and so it is.
Maybe the streets are gold and there's a table with plenty room. Maybe we don't grow old and we got nothing to lose. Maybe the promised land there's a choir with when you walk through. But I pray heaven is like rain on a tin roof. Maybe the sun don't set and the waters don't rise. Maybe we don't forget how to laugh like a child. Maybe the promised land we all made for what we do. Oh, but I pray heaven is like rain washing away my sorrows, giving me faith to follow a new tomorrow. They tell me the promised land, there are mansions to choose, but I pray heaven is like rain on a tin roof. Maybe time stands still and there are mountains to move. Maybe we all have wings and there's only good news. They say the living water is the fountain of youth, but I pray heaven is like rain on a tin roof, washing away my sorrows, giving me faith to follow a new tomorrow. I pray to tell me the promised land is to choose, but I pray heaven is like rain on a tin roof, washing away my sorrow, giving me faith to follow a new tomorrow. They tell me the promised land, they are mountains to choose, oh, but I pray heaven is like rain on a tin roof. I pray heaven is like rain on a tin roof.
Thank you so much, Jabel, Austin, Ray. And let's thank Reverend Victoria again, please. Beautiful talk. And last but not least, let's thank Tanvir for doing sound and Michelle for doing our live stream. Sometimes we don't name them aloud, but we sure appreciate you and all that you do for us. So. And now I'd like to invite our beloveds who are in service to come forward. Collecting this morning on behalf of the congregation it's not Cindy Lambert. It is James Jones and Frank Conley. And receiving on behalf of the congregation is practitioner Ed Ryan. You know that your conscious contributions to this center really allow us to continue all the wonderful work that we do, and one of the easiest ways to do that is via text to give. So you can send a text to 951-419-5858 with the amount you wish to contribute. You can also go on our website at riversidecsl.org. In the upper right-hand corner is the word contribute, and you just click there and do it that way. And of course, the more traditional way is to place your contribution in the basket as it goes around. So we are so grateful for your ongoing generosity. And right now, let's place what you're giving over your heart space, and let's say our abundance affirmation together. I give and receive freely and generously with an open heart and an open mind. The universe responds to me in kind. I know that my beloved community is richly blessed, and so it is.
I'm grateful for the love that you rain down on blessings. Oh, I'm grateful for the blessings that you rain down on me. Oh, I'm grateful for the blessing, yeah. Oh, I'm grateful for the love that you rain down on me. Oh, I'm grateful for the love. Oh, I'm grateful for the love that you rain down on me. Oh, I'm grateful for the love, for the love.
Thank you. I just have a few announcements before we close out and go across the way to Johnson Hall for coffee and, as Reverend Jeff would say, snackies. But anyway, a few announcements. First is Operation Christmas Tree. It's where we are supporting the spirit of Christmas. Jubel is heading up that. So next Wednesday, the 16th at 6 o'clock, come on out. Help us decorate Christmas trees for families in need. And 40 families, so come on out. I saw that Ray did it last week.
Yes.
He gets a gold star, so anyway, let's join in and do that.
We have
for
lots
all.
of snacks and really fun Christmas music, and
Oh, cool.
so I'll be singing really fun Christmas music while you're decorating.
Awesome. So that's downstairs in the community room. Next is on Friday, November the 18th at 7 o'clock. We are having the celebration of life service for our beloved practitioner, Dan Castle. So again, that is at 7 o'clock Friday evening in the sanctuary. Also, another exciting event coming up with Jubel and Marie Tree. It's called Divas Play the Piano Men. It's a benefit concert that is going to support the music program here at RCSL. You can go online and get our tickets online. You can also purchase them at the door. It's going to be great. You want to say anything else?
Yeah, my mom bought her ticket, and right now we only have my mom coming, so please come. She's deaf, so, you know. So she's coming because she loves me, but I need you guys to come.
Okay, so let's see. It is Saturday, November 19th at what time? 7.
Yeah, and I wanted to tell you, I have my Motown choir are coming to be guests, and so if you like Motown, there's 17 of them, and they're all from the ages of 12 to 40, so I think you will really enjoy seeing them along with me and Marie Tree, so please come.
Fun. So let's come on out for that. Since it's the time of Thanksgiving, we are collecting non-perishable, canned, and shelf-stable goods to fill the food pantry at Sylvia's Serenity Home, which is a home for women and children who are escaping domestic violence. And so we would love you to bring your donations on a Sunday or even during office hours during the week, Monday through Thursday from 10 to 4 we're open. And the last day to do so is Sunday, November 20th. So please bring in as many goods as you can, and let's fill to overflow their food pantry. And now we're going to play a video. There we go. Okay, wow, that was exciting. So this is a little preview for the Martin Luther King Jr. Day Walk that is January 16th. We're going to get back on board. That's taken a few years off due to the pandemic, and now we would love you. Our own Earl Bogan is chairman of this event, and so he wanted to get this out early. Plant the seed. Again, it's January, but plant the seed. Not too early to register. You can see him if you have more questions about that, and that's fun. And then just a reminder that we have Sunday morning spiritual practice every Sunday here at 9 o'clock downstairs in the village, just below us. Want to thank Ed Ryan for leading visioning this morning. And practitioner Jeannie Kataoka will be leading the practice on meditation next week. So if you want to learn more about a specific type of meditation, join her at 9 o'clock, and then you come on up about 1:45 and have the service. So I think that's it for announcements. So I'm going to ask you to stand, please, as we say an affirmation together and do our benediction together and close out. So our beautiful affirmation today, I'll say it first and then we'll say it together. Grounded in principle, I am lifted in love. Together. Grounded in principle, I am lifted in love. Beautiful. So please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward. Because love lives here. Happy Sunday. Let's sing our song and
Something wonderful is
close
happening
out.
to me right now. It's this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. Receive it. And I move it forward. Because love lives here. Oh, love lives here. Yeah. Sing it with me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. It's this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. Receive it. And I move it forward. Because love lives here. Yeah. Love lives here. Yes. Thank you. Have a great Sunday. We love you all. Go have snackies. When the world gets you down and you're feeling lonely, when you can't find your truth or find your center, there are many here who gather together. Oh, unconditionally, we love each other, and the scars that we see just make us stronger. We breathe it in together. We'll hold you up with grace. You know that love lives here in you and me. Love lives here. My soul breaks free. I'm so excited to be united with you. Where love lives. Where love lives. When life gets you down, you can see the future. When it all seems too much for you to handle, there are many here who gather together. Oh, unconditionally, we pray together, and the hurt that we feel will be set free. We breathe it in together. We'll hold you up with grace. You know that love lives here in you and me. Love lives here. My soul breaks free. I'm so excited to be united with you. Where love lives. Where love lives. Love lives here. Yeah, right? Love